A new pope has been chosen, that's right, and MAGA is very unhappy about it. I love the idea of being mad about the pope. Here are the details. His name is Pope Leo XIV, and he is officially the first American pope. He's from Chicago, Illinois. His original name, before he changed it, because you gotta as the pope, was Cardinal Robert Prevost. Pope Leo is not just from America, he also has some strong opinions on American politics. And that's triggered a ton of right wingers. We have a lot to talk about. We'll get to it momentarily. But Cenk, what are your first reactions to the Pope of America?
I am a little disappointed they picked a Marxist. And we'll explain to you guys all the different ways that he is. And you'll be shocked. Well, if we prove that, you would be shocked. So second of all, they said they got a pope from Chicago, Illinois, and I was like, Rick Strom! I can't believe it. But TYT Sports is losing a valuable, and then I found out it was Prevost. This close, okay? Young Turks is so old, we're on to our fourth pope. We started this 24 years ago. This is our third or fourth habemus papam, depending on how you count Benedict and Francis, because they were, they were double quarter pounder and cheese for a while. I don't know if I can say that about the Pope, but apparently you can say anything you want, as we're gonna see from the right wing here. So lots of news about the Pope, and then I've got my thoughts, and I know why MAGA's upset, and I want to help them with their tears a little bit.
Yes, great, fantastic. This is what originally, the Pope tweeted on X. He retweeted this. He said JD Vance is wrong. Jesus doesn't ask us to rank our love for others. That's something that apparently JD Vance said. It's your family first, and it's you, then your family, then your community, and the Pope, who knows this stuff for sure, pointed out that is not the case. Quote, this is what JD Vance said. There's a Christian concept that you love your family, and then you love your neighbor, and then you love your community, and then you love your fellow citizens, and then after that, prioritize the rest of the world. A lot of the far left has completely inverted that. JD, check your sources. I did. What you're talking about is from Scientology. Here's a graphic from the book of Scientology that says this is exactly what the Scientologists believe, you dildo. It's amazing. That's from my copy of Scientology, no joke. Pope Leo has also criticized Trump and his policies. He posted this article in 2015. Cardinal Dolan, why Donald Trump's anti-immigrant rhetoric is so problematic. And last month, Pope Leo reposted this. As Trump and Bukele use Oval to laugh at Fed's illicit deportation of a US resident, once an undocumented Salvadorian himself, now DC Ox and Avelio asks, do you not see the suffering? Is your conscience not disturbed? How can you stay quiet? Those posts and many others have triggered a full-on MAGA meltdown, which is delicious. We'll start with the Laura Loomer one, absolutely losing her mind, saying, the new Pope once retweeted a post about how we need to keep praying for a career criminal and drug addict, George Floyd. The tweet said, quote, may all hatred, violence, and prejudice be eradicated. What prejudice, asked Loomer. Is that another way to spell fentanyl overdose, she said about the guy who died? Marxist Pope, she says in all caps. And then also to that same retweet, to the retweet I read earlier, Tim Pool wrote, woke Pope. Ready to apply yourself, Tim. Megyn Kelly asked, is it too much to hope that some 20-year-old ran the new Pope's X account and he never looked at it? Cat Turd also in despair. This is so bad, he says. But there is a silver lining. Charlie Kirk has offered a counterpoint. Scoop : our Turning Point action team pulled the voting history for Pope Leo XIV. He's a registered Republican who has voted in Republican primaries when not living abroad. Our data shows he's a strong Republican and he's pro-life. We'll pause there. Cenk, takes on the MAGA meltdown over the new Marxist Pope.
Yeah, so to be fair, the reference to fentanyl, of course, is about things coming across the border and immigration. And obviously, good Christians should hate immigrants. That's why I found this quote from Leviticus 19:34 to be a little bit strange. They said, the alien who resides with you shall be hated and loathed and blamed for all fentanyl. No, wait, no, it actually says, the alien who resides with you shall be to you as the citizen among you. You shall love the alien as yourself, for you were aliens in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. But to be fair, God seems to disagree with Trump and Vance, so we got a problem on our hands. And I mean, if you're a good Christian, Jesus, Trump, it's a tough one. I mean, who knows the Catholic religion better than JD Vance? I mean, are you gonna tell me that the Pope knows it better? No, the Pope's an idiot thinking that Jesus loved the strangers in a different land and immigrants, obviously, and the needy and the poor and the suffering, etc. And Jesus hated war. No, we need super right-wing popes who are not going to complain. By the way, in the old days, now they pretend to be anti-war, although obviously they have a very spotty record on that. But in the old days, they didn't even pretend, and they were like, oh, the Pope is no good. All good Christians would start wars in the Middle East, right? And they used to say absurd things like that. So now we're on to he's a Marxist. By the way, no word means anything anymore. Marxist. So first of all, there was a guy who was a Marxist who's religious, to be fair. His name was Jesus Christ. He said, give away all of your worldly possessions to the poor and come follow me. You can look it up. You're gonna look it up. So if you call Jesus a Marxist, I'd say that's kind of fair. There's a lot of quotes in the Bible where he says, literally give away all of your possessions to the poorest and the neediest and come follow me. Okay, so that's good. But did the Pope say anything like that? The new Pope, Bob. Pope Bob was like, no, you shouldn't be super cruel to the needy. They're like, you're leftist Marxist. I'm like, come on, guys, that's Christianity 101. What do you want him to be mean to the needy? So this, and look, Brett, I know why they're complaining, because in their lifetimes, like the overwhelming majority of religious leaders have been giant jerks. Like super mean to everyone else. You should hate the gays, you should hate the immigrants, you should love money for me. Give me your money, I need 18 private jets, okay? The only thing Jesus cared about was my Rolls Royce and my private jet and hating other people. So when they see a kind religious leader, especially in their own religion, with broader Christianity, they're like, that shouldn't be allowed. And by the way, Christians, don't catch feelings. Every religion is the same. So in Islam, every once in a while there'll be a more liberal, left-leaning, whatever, preacher, imam, mullah, whatever. And the traditionalists, the conservatives, will be like, that's terrible. How dare he try to say that we should be open to the others? The others are bad. Every religion, the bad guy religious leaders always tell you to hate the others. And most importantly, if they're not in your little community and they're not in your little tribe, you should loathe them, and God hates them. God loves you, but hates them. Really? A hating God? A Marxist God? Okay, you can believe whatever you like, but that sounds crazy to the rest of us.
Right, yeah, like Jesus threw money lenders out of the temple. He like ejected them from it, saying, I went to Catholic school, but I wasn't Jesus Christ Superstar. So he said, my temple should be a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of thieves. Get out! Like that was his central thing. And he said, take all your money, give it to the poor, as opposed to Donald Trump and the rest of MAGA, who's like, take all your money and just give it to Donald Trump. And the Pope and Donald Trump both live in wildly gilded palaces, in huge, extravagant lifestyles, and have everything taken care of for them, generally. They're just mad that the Pope was nice to people for like 10 minutes, and that's 10 minutes longer than Trump was nice. Because we do have evidence that he's done some pretty shady stuff, although he is not, according to the New York Times, as though he's not said much recently. In a 2012 address to bishops, he lamented that Western news media and popular culture fostered, quote, sympathy for beliefs and practices that are at odds with the gospel. He cited the, quote, homosexual lifestyle and, quote, alternate families comprised of same-sex partners and their adopted children. And further, Pope Leo is also involved in some of the church's many sexual abuse scandals. Prevost, as FKA Prevost as we'll call him, led the Augustinians' Midwest province in Chicago from 1998 to 2010 and was later the order's worldwide head. During that span, Reverend Richard McGrath remained president of Providence Catholic High School in New Lenox, despite long-standing complaints that he had abused at least one student and kept child pornography images on his phone. And an investigation report by the Chicago Sun-Times done in June of 2024 noted that the Augustinians paid a $2 million settlement to former student Robert Krankovich, but omitted McGrath's name from their public list of credibly accused clerics. And the newspaper said Prevost never explained why the priest was left in his post. Three Sisters in Peru, where Prevost has spent much of his life doing ministry, alleged that, quote, that a friar abused them between 2007 and 2015, and that Prevost, then apostolic administrator, the later bishop of the diocese, promised in 2022 to open a canonical investigation, but never produced documents proving he did so. So, I don't know, I talked to some MAGA people, and evidence we're in a realignment period is exactly here. Like, there are so many things that you would assume Republicans would gravitate toward, like a anti-gay pope, right? But then they all have this feeling, like when you talk to them, that there are millions of children being abused right now. And they're like, the reason I like Donald Trump is because I want to get rid of the deep state who's drinking adrenochrome and harvesting child organs in a giant sex trafficking ring. But not when it comes to their beloved religion if they're a Catholic. In that case, it's still a dice roll. But yeah, it's just so strange to see them all on different sides of it. But what's most fascinating to me is immediately asking, do I get to like the new pope? Like, what do I get to? They're all looking around. They find the first thing that they can find about the guy, and then they decide to either lift him up or tar and feather him. But in an environment where the president of the United States, the vice president of the United States, they've all done some things that are so non-Christian and not even, and even non-Catholic, because Catholics are typically the ones with the prettier churches that are built on the money that is tithed in. But I don't know, it's just a nightmare. They can find something that, of course, the former pope had to speak up at some point because the leader of the Republican Party in the most powerful country in the world is so non-Christian.
Yeah, I'm gonna come back to Trump in a second, but it's as if like we then saw this guy and we were like, oh my God, I can't believe the Pope is anti-choice. Yeah, that's not that surprising, right? We're used to popes being conservative, right? But the Pope appears to be pretty anti-LGBTQ, especially if you look at his past sayings. That's not that surprising, right? Does it bear, no, right? And so, he might have been part of a cover-up of abuse. Like, if you're on the left, you have to accept that a huge percentage of religious leaders will be massively conservative, right? And then even the ones that are not massively conservative will have deeply conservative positions. So we're used to it. That's why we don't catch the kind of feelings that the right wing is catching. Well, otherwise we'd be like, this filthy capitalist Pope. I mean, the economic system has nothing to do with it, right? So they just want to smear everyone as Marxist no matter what they do. And they feel entitled to a pope of their liking, which is not an entitlement that any of us have gotten used to. So that's why you have this disparate reaction when he has what some would consider progressive positions and some certainly conservative positions, right? So we should be a tie, but it doesn't feel like a tie because they feel entitled to a 100% win.
And the one thing I keep forgetting is like Catholics are 1 in 5 Americans, right? But most Christians are not Catholic in America. So when Lindsey Graham was like, we should let Trump be the Pope, and Trump was like, I'd love to be the Pope, like neither of them is Catholic.
Yeah, that's another thing I was gonna get to, Brett. So, I mean, get a load of this. So I'm gonna quote one more for you, but there's like literally dozens of these in the Bible, including in the New Testament. Deuteronomy 27:19, cursed is anyone who withholds justice from the foreigner, the fatherless or the widow, then all the people shall say, amen, amen. Cursed is anyone who withholds justice from the foreigner. Now, Are you sure you're all, if you're on the right, you sure you're all being good Christians? You sure you're following the Bible? Have you read the Bible in a while, or have you had a preacher tell you what the Bible is? Oh yeah, Deuteronomy 13, I shall have a private jet. I'd read the actual Bible if I was you, because you might be shocked at what's in it. And so that's the actual Bible. Then Trump comes along and he's like, I'm Presbyterian, but so what, I'd like to be Pope. Okay, I'm gonna be Pope. Imagine if Biden said he was gonna be the Pope and did an AI picture of him dressed as the Pope. You guys, you all know it. The entire right wing would have been like, how dare you? We've never been so offended in our lives, right? Let alone if someone who was not Christian at all did it, like Trump. What's your favorite verse in the Bible? I like all of them. Which do you like, Old Testament or New Testament? I like both. I like both. He's never read a word of it. You're praying to an orange Jesus. Come on, guys. It's like, get real. Or you can say, hey, you know what? You're right. I'm an atheist now. I know I didn't believe anything in the Bible. I just want money, right? And I think Trump's gonna help me with money, or Trump's gonna help me with getting rid of immigrants or whatever. Yeah, I don't care what Jesus said about immigrants and the needy and giving away your stuff. I'm not giving anything away. Screw Jesus, I'm with Trump. Okay, that's fine. At least you're being honest then. Okay, and then finally, I think we should pick new Pope names. Okay.
You don't like Leo? I feel Leo's pretty informal.
No. I'm saying since if you get elected Pope or selected Pope, you have to pick a new Pope name. We should all pick Pope names.
Oh, wow.
Like, so I just, right as you were talking, I wrote down two of them. One for Trump, Pope Robert Barron the 13th.
Robert.
Okay.
Got it.
Robert Barron, right?
Robert Barron.
Okay, yeah. And so, and now me, of course, I'm gonna be obnoxious and go with Pope Justice, the first of his name. The first Muslim atheist we've had. But you know what? If the left was like the right, they'd be like, yeah, sure, why not? Put Cenk in a Pope outfit, we're good with it.
I want my name, my Pope name, I want to be like Pope Kippy. Just like Pope Kip. Hey, he's like a friendly Pope. I do want to say that like, this is like the horrible things you know when you go to Catholic school is like, Trump wants all truck drivers to speak English, right? But the reason that people on this planet speak different languages is actually, if you listen to the Bible, because of people like Trump. Real estate developers who built giant temples toward the sky because they thought they could be as high as God, and God got really pissed. It was called the Tower of Babel, and that's why we say Babel like we don't understand you, because God cursed everyone to speak different languages and not understand each other and go off. So it was presumptuous schmuckos like Trump who are responsible for that.
And he does build a lot of tower, and he does have a lot of babble. So maybe Pope Babel, the first of his name.
There you go.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.